There is a door we all come to, one that protects the facts and truths that hold our reality together from that which floats beyond reason and sanity. Once we walk through that door, nothing is ever the same. We can become lost in the abyss of man's imagination, wandering down the long hall into the kind of madness that is dangerously pervasive, infected with a delirium most foul and contagious until we are all unable to navigate our way back to what is real. It is here where we find absurd conspiracies. Rising high above the rural towns and small cities across the country, the water tower is a prominent feature of small-town America. Thought of as the grandfather of the skyscraper, it has been a fixture in the American eye's view of these spacious skies for 250 years. However, what do we really know about them? Were they built for something more than just their stated purpose? Some believe that these water towers, their placement in the landscape, and their actual function is for much more than storage and distribution of the local water supply, and that, in fact, they mark an ancient network of magnetic power called ley lines, and that they're part of a transportation and access system to what's above and what is below. And lastly, that the trail to the designers and builders of these towers can be traced back to the Freemasons and a secret agreement with a long-forgotten race of people. Long ago, there were people here, not the descendants of the Clovis people or the Vikings. These people date back to a time before the Ice Age, and they went unnoticed until a large-scale immigration took place here in the mid-1800s. Then they asked to meet with our leaders. The Freemasons were the ones that brokered the deal and then designed and built the towers. It would be Millard Fillmore, our 13th president, that would strike the deal and finally sign it into law. It would later be referred to as the Fillmore Subterranean Agreement. Believers say that these subhumans were willing to live in peace with the Pilgrims, but lines and boundaries needed to be established. They did not want us coming into their massive underground cities. An accord was reached that had very specific needs.
Their cities ran on an energy that was converted from the Earth's magnetic field, and it was getting weaker and weaker. The answer to this was to use water as an accelerator. Water, as you know, does not adversely affect magnetic power and can be used to amplify it by the rapid movement of water itself. This was part of the deal. If we were going to expand here in this country, we would have to place these towers and their technology at these intersections of these ley lines and build them to the subterranean people's needs.
Others say that these towers and the villages, towns, and cities that sprung up around them were planned based solely upon the subhumans' needs. The towers would be a way for them to continue to come topside without being noticed. And, with a few exceptions, mostly no one knew where these people came from. Many Victorian writers talked about them. Jules Verne wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth. That was based on his research into these people and their first-hand accounts from indigenous people that had interacted with them over the centuries. Before publishing, he was told that he had to publish it as a work of fiction or not at all. Wisely, he took the money. Of course, it was Admiral Byrd that really blew the lid off the secret when he flew right into the interior of the Earth from the large opening located at the North Pole. This is where the hollow Earth stories came from. Many believe that the subs culture could be in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of inhabitants. And some speak about the fact that these subhumans could not supply enough food for a civilization of such a size without sunlight. leading them to a very horrible notion of what the subs might eat.
Old people, that's what they eat. The older a person is, the more marbling and fatty they become. We're good eating for sure. And since we share a lot of DNA with pigs, they say that we taste like bacon or ham. Many old indigenous customs support this. In the far north, the Inuits would send out the old on ice floats when they could not hunt anymore. This was not to be cruel. This was to payment to the subterraneans. They sent old people out on the reg like a takeout from a Chinese carryout. They knew they had to keep the peace between the topsiders and the subs below.
Supporters of this theory say that these customs and very accurate information about the subdwellers was weaved into the H.G. Wells book, The Time Machine, about a future where food lived above and the Morlocks, as he called them, lived below and ate the top herd. And they believe that this unspeakable custom is still happening today, citing the statistics that over 600,000 people go missing a year in the United States, and these subhumans could very well be to blame. That they use these tower ports to capture people and bring them below and onto an intricate transportation system all over the world to their rendering plants.
I would have to say that it is a fragile peace. We are in violation of a few rules in the Charter right now. We have started to use land and underground area that we did not ask for. You have to understand that they are in charge of the water. It comes from underground springs, which is their territory. We had to work with them, even if it meant letting them eat some old folks. This deal goes back 400 years in the United States and over 1,000 years in India. This is a national issue that could blow up at any moment and is being handled by a secret department of the Interior.
Believers agree that at some time in the near future, there might be a meeting of these two worlds, and what will come of that is anyone's guess. Until then, they say, we should step lightly and remember that what is above may not be as it is below.